Hey everyone, Screaming Geek Media here. I am Jerry the Geek. Today we're going to talk about Titanic on 4K. But before we do, if you like physical media, if you like 4Ks, Blu-rays, DVDs, home theater, movies, check out my other videos on my channel because I do the unboxings, reviews, do custom covers, discussions, collection updates. Check that stuff out. Like, subscribe, and turn your bell notifications on. So let's dive into Titanic on 4K. This just came out a couple days ago. Now, the movie originally came out in 1997. I think it was December time frame. PG-13. You got Leonardo DiCaprio, Kate Winslet, Bill Paxton, Kathy Bates, Billy Zane. Of course, directed by the great James Cameron. This has always been one of my favorites. How I even seen it at the theater. I've seen it probably about 3 times. I've owned it on, Laserdisc. I had both Dolby Digital and DTS. Forked out, back in the day, DTS obliterated Dolby Digital as far as any home theater formats. But you can, if you want, I talk about that in some of my videos, my evolution of physical media videos, different formats, and, the audio tracks. And, back then, DTS was phenomenal. Dolby did not get into the ballpark until Blu-ray with Dolby True HD. Their standard Dolby Digital sucked because of compression. So DTS was always, they're the ones that set the bar. They're so sought after, especially the Laserdisc. I remember I bought Titanic on Laserdisc with Dolby Digital first. Then I seen that they had a DTS available, but it was in high demand, hard to find. I ended up paying, I think, about $150 for it, but damn, was it worth it. But I also had this on DVD. I've never bought this on Blu-ray. I'm not sure. I think I just kind of forgot about it as I was buying Blu-rays. And then in recent years, I was like, well, 4K's out now. Why should I buy the Blu-ray? The 4K will come out. And then the 4K never came, and finally it came out. But a great movie. No, it's not a true story, but it's based on some true events. They just took this famous Titanic sinking and created a story around it, the love story. Some people don't really like that aspect of it, but I've always liked it. It's nice. And all the characters are phenomenal. I think Billy Zane plays a Hockley. I mean, you really want to hit him. He plays a complete douchebag in this movie. And I can't remember her name that plays the old Rose. She was, I think, 87 when they filmed this. And she lived and she died right after she turned 100. Yeah, so a phenomenal movie. Like I said, I've always enjoyed this. I can watch this over and over. It never gets old. Another kind of funny thing that kind of popped in my head. Of all the times I've seen this, I never really thought about it. The one scene in here when Rose and Jack are talking on the side of the ship, and you're talking about going to the piers, Santa Monica. Then he says about ride the roller coaster till we throw up. And I never really thought about it. I mean, today, yes, because of the roller coasters that we have. But you're talking 1914. Roller coasters back then, because I'm big into roller coasters, that's my thing. They weren't anything major. They're pretty tame back then. I'm not sure if they had anything in existence that would make you throw up back in 1914. You would have had to have a pretty weak stomach to get sick on one of those. It wasn't until the 20s that some of the coasters started getting really crazy. That was just kind of a funny thing I never thought of all the times I've watched this movie, and this time it kind of popped in my head. It's like, wait a minute, 1914. There was nothing crazy. Why would you throw up? But anyways, that's just a funny little thing that popped in my head. Now, this 4K release comes from Paramount. Like I said, it just came out a couple of days ago. It was originally filmed in 35mm, has a 4K digital intermediate, HDR10, and Dolby Vision. And wow, this lives up to expectations, even goes above it. It's great to finally say this now, because in the last few reviews I've had some not so great visuals, because 4K, some of the restorations set that high bar, and I've had a couple recently that were mediocre and weren't that great. So, I don't like to be negative, but, I tell it like it is, how, my opinions. So I'm glad to have something here to say they hit it out of the freaking park. It is phenomenal from beginning to end. The details and depth are freaking leap off the screen. Like some of the details of the facial details, the wrinkles, textures, beads of sweat on their faces. Another nice little highlight was Brock, Bill Paxton plays Brock. After they pull the safe out and as they're cracking that open, close up Brock, all the details of the face and hair. But the sweater he's wearing, all the little fuzz and fibers, that really comes out. We get to the scene when Rose is ready to jump off the back of the ship, and Jack comes up, and as she starts turning around, she is stepping on a railing. The close-up of her feet, you can see the bottom of her dress, all the beads there really shine through, show off the, really pop off the screen there. And, that 1914 being a period piece, all the details and textures throughout the entire, all the scenes throughout Titanic, are just the clothing, the walls, and the decor look freaking phenomenal. I can't believe how good this really looks. And then we get into colors. Rich colors really pop off the screen. Solid blacks throughout. I really have nothing bad to say about the visual presentation here. Now, as far as a Blu-ray comparison, this does not come with a Blu-ray. And like I said, I never owned this on Blu-ray, so I have no comparison shots for you. So here, just, check out some shots from the 4K. Then we'll come back and talk about the audio, packaging, and the bonus features. So we'll see you in a couple minutes. Now for the audio, they gave us a Dolby Atmos track here. I don't have Dolby Atmos, and I have just a 5.0 setup. Now, phenomenal track throughout. It's not perfect. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes because you're going to think I'm crazy. But besides that, this is a phenomenal track. It's clear dialogue throughout. All have nice little, some subtle sounds throughout. Great channel separation, use of surrounds, ambience throughout the scenes are incredible. A couple of favorite scenes is definitely with the engine room, the boiler room. That has a lot of impact. Has some nice low-end bass throughout, but not overpowering, but still really good. It still shook the house. I mean, I had to, because of my experience with this movie, as much as I love the home theater experience, I always crank this puppy up, and I did here, and I had the house shaking. And there was some even nice, the subtle bass that you could hear and kind of feel subtly when Jack and Rose are walking around the deck talking, and just kind of like a faint bass, but it's there, so that was pretty nice. And of course the score from James Horner, definitely one of the all-time great scores, phenomenal. And I kind of get goosebumps whenever the music kicks in, because that's how much I really like this. And even the Celtic music is freaking phenomenal. So yeah, all around, this is a great audio track. But, this is a big but here. Because this is me being nitpicky because of the other formats I've owned. And what I, remember. Because I don't have a Laserdisc anymore, so I can't do a comparison with my Laserdisc. But my memory, the audio track had much more impact on a Laserdisc. It was much more intense. Again, like I said, you're going to think I'm crazy saying that it was much more intense, because this here is an intense track. It really is. I think the part that falls is the score. The music score is great, has a lot of punch to it, but during the action sequences, the music score kind of takes a back seat. It's not as pronounced. It's there, but it's not as well balanced. I remember the Laserdisc that the music was just as high as the action sounds. I mean, it was just in your face screaming. And it just lacks that. Just the music. Like I said, everything else is great. It's just the music takes that back seat during those action scenes. And just didn't have that punch I was expecting. Like I said, I had it cranked up. I was waiting for it. Some of you might think that because I have a 5.0 system, no sub, that would be the issue. But no, because my speakers are full range. If you look at my list of what it's in my system, or if you look back at my video of where I show off my system, my Klipsch speakers, has the mid-range horn, a tweeter horn, and two 12-inch subs in each speaker. And I have those in the mains, and I have those in the surrounds. So all the speakers pack a big punch, and I can shake the hell out of my house without having a sub. Take a movie like Top Gun Maverick. I mean, I literally had the house shaking like crazy. I had stuff falling off the speakers. So a lack of subs has nothing to do with lack of bass when it comes to movies. Because I have my system set up to where when you set up your receivers, you can have it set up to, as far as bass, if you want to have it just go into the subs, or if you want to have it go into subs and mains. That's how I have mine set up, because I have full range speakers. So yeah, that's being me nitpicky with my memory from having those laser disc. That's why I wish I had the Blu-ray, because I had a DTS 5.1. I would have liked to have done a comparison with that to see how the DTS track was on Blu-ray, if it had that extra punch to it. We can't talk about the DVD because, my experience with DVD audio, Dolby Digital sucked ass back then. But again, this is a phenomenal track. Like I said, you think I'm crazy for saying that, because this is a wonderful track. But if you've had the DTS Laserdisc and remember that, you're going to notice that this isn't as good. So I'm not sure what happened there. Again, it might just be a Dolby thing. Sometimes they drop the ball when it comes to audio. So next up, we'll talk about the packaging. Actually it comes with a slip cover here. And you all know what I think of slip covers. See ya. Standard keep case here. Now again, this does not come with a Blu-ray. Well, the Blu-ray is only bonus features. Then you got the 4K. Wish I would have done some nice artwork for it. So here's the digital code. First one, if you want to check it out. I'll leave it up here for a few seconds as I start talking about the bonus features. Now for the bonus, you have 5 audio commentaries. One of them being it's a 2005 commentary with James Cameron. Then we have a new fan art gallery. We got some new documentaries mixed in with some archived. We have Titanic Stories from the Heart, Reflections on Titanic, Titanic 25 Years Later, Behind the Scenes presentation hosted by John Landau, additional behind the scenes, deep dive presentation narrated by James Cameron, $200,001,001, a ship's odyssey, the Titanic crew video. We have a Videomatics, visual effects, trailer presentation hosted by John Landau, music video My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. We have still galleries, the credits from 2005, and deleted scenes. So there's a lot here, archive stuff and some new stuff, which I'm glad, some studios do not do. They bring these old movies out and they don't add a new bonus feature. So I'm glad they did go all out and add the new stuff, make it more incentive. It's like, make it more of a bonus, to get this. So to wrap it up, the 4K of Titanic, this is phenomenal. This is definitely worth the wait. Again, I can't do a Blu-ray comparison telling you how much of an upgrade it is, but I checked out a couple other reviews and, they say this definitely is a big upgrade because the Blu-ray had been out for quite some time. But the visually has never looked better. It is worth every penny to get this. And again, the audio track is great. Is it perfect in my opinion? No, I expected more. Because again, those old laser discs, when it comes to audio, it is really hard to match that. But definitely, I recommend picking this up if you haven't got it yet. It is freaking great. Price-wise, it's going for $30. 31 on Amazon, so Walmart's $1 cheaper. Or if you've got some money to throw around, they got the limited edition here. You can see it's running about $135. If you want to see some more details of this, I know Ken over at Mid-Level Media, he did an unboxing of this and talks about it on his review as well. If you want to get a more in-depth look of this set, check that out. But either way, you need to pick this up. This is the best experience for Titanic. It was a treasure hunt, basically. The first two Walmarts I went to, no Titanic, no Indiana Jones. It wasn't until the third Walmart, I get there, nothing on a shelf. They had a DVD and Blu-ray of Indiana Jones, but no 4K. And then I asked, and I was like, well, they don't have it. When I asked the guy about Titanic if they had it, and he was like, no, I don't remember seeing that. And I was like, then all of a sudden he bent over, pulled open a drawer, goes, oh, here it is. He pulled it out of the drawer. They didn't have them on a shelf. And after that, I continued my hunt for the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which we'll get in. I'll talk about that in more detail when I do the review of that. But at every look, I went to 6 Walmarts. And a couple of the Walmarts did have Titanic, but you had to ask for them. They were not on a shelf. So if you go to these stores on release day, if you don't see them on a shelf, ask them, because it could be either because they're lazy and not putting shit out on that release day, or the one guy told me, oh, it's about theft. Which, yeah, I can understand that. But on the end cap, they had all these freaking copies of Oppenheimer and all these other big, movie, $30 to $40 releases. So don't give me that excuse when you got all this other shit out on the shelf. Some stores, if that's the excuse, they have the little cards out there in the place, and you grab the card, take it up, and get it. That I understand. I have no problem. But something should be out there alerting the customer, hey, we have it, come get it. Instead of just, it's a shit show trying to figure out if they have it or not. I think Paramount dropped the ball with this release, because I never, watching this stuff on TV, and I never knew this was coming to 4K. If it hadn't been a YouTube video, checking that stuff out, keeping track of this. There was no promotion whatsoever. At least I didn't see anything on TV. Yes, I know it's an old movie, but still, this is one of the biggest movies of all time. First time on 4K. This should have had some marketing done to it, but nothing. Just a little bit of my rant talking about the 4K release from Paramount. So that pretty much does it for my take on the 4K of Titanic. So comment below, let me know what you think of this. Also, if you went out and did some hunting for yourself, how easy was it to get a hold of this? Check out my other videos on my channel. Like, subscribe, turn your bell notifications on. So we'll see you then. Geek out.